Everyone, and welcome back to another Board No Game video. Today's video is dedicated to unexplained stats that have a huge significance within the game. Also, a huge thank you to Ristia, Small Sprute from Discord, and Andu for pre-calc. So let's go ahead and jump right into this and do some breakdowns. We're going to go ahead and look at Saren and talk about her abilities, but we're going to click her profile right here. And what's important is we're going to look at these stats in particular, the bottom ones. These are like main stats that always get boosted upon levels. But dodge, HP regen, TP regen, HP drain, HP recovery boost, TP boost, and TP retain, these are all stats that are based off of gear that the character has previously obtained. They retain some of the stats, not all of them, but let's go ahead and talk about this. So the regen stats don't have that much importance. This is all wave based, so if you're wondering how do I know this, if you actually go into the ultimate FAQ that I posted, this is going to be, and credits to the person who created this, recovery stats are based off of waves, so it only applies during quest and dungeon areas. So every single time you complete a wave, you get X amount of stats pretty much back. So for example, after you complete like a first wave on the quest, because you have 3 waves, then Saren will get 780 HP and then 115 TP regen. That's so important because this explains why this stat is not really significant, because it only really applies to PvE modes and not in clan battle, nor in PvP, because in PvP, a character can only be ran on 1 wave. So at least for now, unless we get like a new PvP mode, but I think that's not something we should really worry about. But anyways, HP drain is that stat where pretty much you get minor heals, the little green heals. HP recovery boost is actually a pretty big deal. If you go into Ristia's notes right here, this is going to break down HP recovery boost is 100 equals healing is double the amount. And if you're wondering who Ristia is, they're a player from KR who spent $10,000 in the game, so they're quite knowledgeable. So thank you, Ristia, for sharing this information. And let's go ahead and go back here, and then if you go onto TP boost, TP boost is the most important stat in the entire game. The reason why it's so important is if you go to the formula section, it actually affects the active TP gain, the hit TP gain, the kill TP gain. Alright, now the reason why this is so important, when your HP decreases, then you get a TP boost. That's a common thing. This is why some people like to leave characters in low stars, that way they can get their HP decreased even further to get a further TP boost. With kill TP gain, it's a little bit more straightforward. This only really applies in PvE, not really in clan battle whatsoever. And I guess you could sort of say it matters for characters like Ninon in PvP, right? Because you get bigger boosts, but honestly, her skills are like a bigger factor and it doesn't really apply until her 6-star form. But anyways, we are talking about formulas too much. Let's go ahead and show you the significance of this. And also, we got to cover 2 more characters. So the characters that we're going to be covering also is Makoto, because she's going to be part of, the TP boost calculation that we're going to be doing. Note her TP boost is 40, which is pretty huge, right? And then if we go into Saren and you go to her skills, her TP boost, this is a TP that she gives to allies, is 295. That is the base stat, right? And then we're going to go and look at Shori, because she is going to be the other person who's going to be receiving a TP boost as well. So if we go into her profile right here, and then her TP boost is only 15. I'm missing some gear on her. If I had like this necklace right here, it would increase even further. Quest right here, and then we go into dungeon and we do the golem dungeon. You're going to see a significant difference between Makoto and Shori, right? So the first one we're going to run is with Shori, okay? So, we have Saren, Shori, Kaori right there. Kaori's not really going to get any TP boost. And those green ticks, if you see them, they're going to be appearing and we're going to slow things down. Those are all HP drains, and they pretty much proc when a character casts a skill. So, Saren and I think it was June or Kaori has some pretty much heals. Okay, it was hard to see, and we're going to do it again, but there was a 347 TP tick on Shori, alright? Note that the 100s and all those little like numbers, the blue numbers that are appearing, those are minor TP boosts that she gives to herself because she has a bunch of those skills, alright? So whenever Saren casts the ovulation skill again, then we will see how much TP boost that Shori will gain. But let's go ahead and retreat and just play it again so we can sort of see what I'm talking about. Because it's better to note that the TP boosting skills or the skills that are being casted, they happen really early on in the fight based off of the character's skill cycle. So this time let's watch more appropriately because we were paying attention to the HP drain. Let's look at the TP boost, right? So look at Shori right here, 147. That's her skills, right? And then there, 339 and 147. That 339 is very different from Saren's base TP boost, which is 295. Let's go ahead and look at someone like Makoto, who's, much more different than Shori, just so we can get a glimpse of how much TP boost that she's going to be getting. And we have characters who are in proper formation and all that stuff, and this goes to show that in order for this test case to work, or this formula thing, we have to pay attention to the fact that the characters have very low TP. Elegant Ovulation, 413. We're going to play it one more time. Now, that is huge for something in clan battle, right? Because in clan battle, you want Makoto to get those TP boosts. We're actually going to remove Kaori, and then we're going to play someone like Shori, because there was earlier iterations of clan battle where Shori was getting the TP boost opposed to Makoto, even though Makoto was closer in position. But these are like things that players who are newer don't really know about, but we definitely need to cover. So Elegant Ovulation, 413, and you saw there Shori did not get the 339 TP boost. The reason why this is so significant is because TP boost will affect the flow of clan battle. It'll affect the flow of PvP. It'll affect the flow of pretty much anything in the entire game, right? Because if you can get those TP boosts done appropriately, then you can maximize the damage that you are dealing. So what do I mean by that? So let's go back to Makoto and look at her TP boost stats, right? It's going to be 40. And the reason why this is so significant is because we talked about it earlier. It affects so many different stats, like the hit TP gain, the kill TP gain, right? And the act of receiving TP boost from other characters, like for example Saren and Yukari. And when you have characters that can have more TP boost, technically, if we go over here on the pre-calc site, that will affect how important it is for them to be ranked up. So if we go into analysis right here, and you can see we're comparing ranks 8.5 and 7.6. We're going to remove a couple of stats just so we can see it a little bit easier. This is all in regards so we can see the actual TP boost stat. So TP boost is at -5 for these characters when they go from 7.6 to 8.5. This is the reason why people do not recommend characters going up in ranks, because the TP boost is such a significant value. It will affect whether or not. So for example, Hatsune, right? She gets a pretty huge boost in magical attack. Like for example, it's like 105 and Anna gets 235, right? But the thing is, it's not advised for them to go to 8.5 because of this -5 TP boost, because that can be the difference of seconds apart of casting your UB during PvP or any situation. So what am I talking about? Let's do some PvP just to show an example, and hopefully we can find like a Hatsune or, like a pretty much Mage Melt-esque team. If we can't find one, it's totally fine. All right, we have Anna right here at the bottom, all right? So I don't want to run this team because they're not running Miyako, so there's no point to running that team. So the biggest thing that we need to pay attention to is Anna and how fast that she gets her TP gains, right? Now, we don't know whether this person kept Anna at 8.5 or 7.6, whichever. The important part is, depending on how fast this Anna gets her UB, will showcase, where the character pretty much relies at. So it's those small things. If Anna can get her TP boost faster than everyone else, then our team will receive more damage and we will die, alright? So right now, it's looking like we are going to lose, and if Anna cannot get her TP boost, okay, she got her UB off, and that can be the difference, right? So if she got it off a little bit earlier, she could have killed more people, but obviously we had a lot more advantages because our characters were a little bit faster, we had more speed. But it's one of those things in PvP where, for example, this Hatsune team, if their TP boost is, then technically Hatsune can get her AoE UB off much quicker. And it's those things that, as newer players, it doesn't really matter. but as you are flowing into different things, TP boost, like for example, Yukari does not have any TP boost whatsoever, and that's going to hurt her when, you know, she needs to cast her UBs much quicker. And note that these are like the things that it's hard to really detect because the game does not explicitly state. Like TP boost is a huge deal, but these are the things that will affect the flow of the fight, right? And anyways, let's go ahead and complete that dungeon run just so we can see, is it worth it to min-max those things? And we're going to run this team. I'm not sure if it can complete it. The reason why it can be important for, you know, a character like Saren, right? Because you bring Saren specifically to get TP boost, right? If the TP boost landed on someone like Shuri, it's not that good because then Makoto would not land her defense breaks as frequently. If you get less defense breaks, then you technically affect everyone's overall damage. And it's those little things where you're affecting everyone's little damage where it can cause like major issues, right? So as long as like this little blue defense symbol is appearing, then technically our TP boosts are applying properly and we're constantly casting a defense break with Makoto's UB. That is the most important part of this lesson, and this is why Saren and Makoto pair so well together. And it's important to have characters in specific positions, because if Saren isn't boosting Makoto on this specific team, then why are you bringing Saren, right? Are you boosting a different attacker? But technically you want to boost the defense breaker because the defense breaker will enable everyone else to have more damage, all right? So let's go ahead and do some Princess Arena PvP because technically we already completed Battle Arena PvP, but these minor things where you're trying to figure your way out through the game, late game, I'm not fighting that team, that's a really good team, where you are trying to understand what does TP boost actually mean? What does HP regen and all these different stats actually mean? All right, this Reno comp looks really weird. All right, we might, my god, a 5-star Miyako. All right, I don't stand a chance against that, and I don't know if I can win against the first two teams. Well, let's just go ahead and try it. Let's see what happens. The important part to note is that when you're using characters like Saren and Yukari, their TP boost that they apply will be huge. For mages, where their TP boost relies will affect whether they can AoE quickly or not, alright? So when you are upgrading characters and you're trying to make a judgment call, look at the character's TP boost before upgrading anything, right? Because that's going to be the important stat that dictates the actual usability of the character. It's really weird that TP boost affects so much of the character, but when you cast your UB and when you can proc a heal, like when Kaori casts her UB, she gets a huge heal off, right? Those things will matter a lot, and hence why some people like to keep characters at 4-star or 3-star, because at 3-star, technically, they can get larger TP boost ups when they get hit, which is, to them, is more important, you know, getting the TP boost afterwards, rather than, you know, having a small gain in physical attack stats, magical attack stats, or HP stats, alright? That's just something that is going to be a reoccurring theme as we flow more into the game, alright? I hope you enjoyed like the way TP boost, regen abilities, HP drain, all those minor details really flow. It's really about like how you place your characters and where you want certain characters to certainly function, right? It's a confusing thing. We can cover it again if you guys want me to. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Consider subscribing if you made it this far. Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on Twitter. Once we hit 17,500 subs, we'll be doing a giveaway. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you being here, and I will see you in the next one.